Welcome back to Brothers Talking Sports. We're here with wide receiver and tight end preview today. I'm here with Shay. Shay, how you doing?
Good, doing good, doing well.
Doing good. This receiver class was interesting. I think it was actually deeper than I probably would have, imagined. Tight ends, we only did 2 of them. So, there are a couple tight ends. There's the Miami kid. There's the Bowling Green guy. So there's a couple tight ends, but we didn't do them today.
These are the 2 big ones.
Yeah, these are the 2 ones.
Tight ends don't tend to go early. These 2 guys you would think, but you never know. You could see Warren go in the first round and Loveland, right? Loveland?
Yeah.
He gets pushed off to the...
I think both of them will go in the first round.
Probably, but I could see, if Warren dropped a bit and then Loveland, fell to even the second round. It probably wouldn't happen, but that's just how tight ends go.
Yeah. Brock Bowers was a top 5 prospect last year.
Yeah, he was one of the best players. He got picked at 13.
13.
It's just how it goes.
So we kept saying last year when Brock Bowers slid down the board, we were kind of shocked.
Yeah,
so
I thought the Chargers at 5 would be a good spot for him, and then they went lineman, which they got a good tackle, but I was like, this guy is whoever picks him up, they are getting a very good tight end, and then there's some good ones this year too. I think that are worthy of going, just like Bowers should have went.
Yeah, Tyler Warren is a very good player. All right, Shay, let's start off with the guy that I've said going to create some controversy. Tetairoa McMillan, 6'5", 212. My player comp was T. Higgins. All right, I didn't give any crazy player comps this time.
Good, because T. Higgins, I like Drake London, both tall, physical receivers.
I think Drake London might be a better route runner than him, but that's just my opinion. All right, let's get to some of his strengths today. Amazing size for a receiver, can play inside and outside, has great hands, works back to the ball at an elite level, great ball skills, will win just about every one-on-one ball, has sneaky speed when in space. Weaknesses, doesn't release off the line of scrimmage well, not a good blocker because he's skinny, doesn't have elite straight line speed, struggles to separate sometime, average route runner, not a number 1 wide receiver right now, could potentially become a number 1 wide receiver. That's why I put T. Higgins as my player comp. I think there's some weaknesses to his game that Tetairoa McMillan has that I think people are taking a little bit by underwhelming him in terms of his route running. I think he's not the best route runner, and I think he has some room to improve in that area. But his upside is elite because of his speed, his size, and I think there's another prospect very close to him in this draft as well.
Really? There's another prospect very close.
Very close. Like if you picked him, I'd be like, okay, he's ranked in the 50s, but he's like on PFF.
50s?
On PFF. Yeah, they don't have many weaknesses though on PFF actually for him. No.
I probably know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but we'll get to him.
I do know who you're talking about. To me, this is the wide receiver 1. I think he's going to get picked pretty early. Receivers go off the board like that. A guy who's 6'5", athletic, and had a very solid, very good college career. This guy, you're going to see this guy go off the board relatively quick. Probably will end up being a top 10 pick. I just think that's how it's going to be. And will be a stud outside receiver in the NFL, I think, for plenty of years to come.
This is Brock Bowers. This is Brock Bowers right here.
This is Brock Bowers.
This is the guy that's not going to go in the top 10. If I wonder what his line comes out to be because he ain't going in the top 10.
You don't think so?
No, because I think the spot where I think everybody thinks he's going to go which is Carolina. I think they're going edge rusher. I'm pretty confident.
I feel like Carolina realizes that. I know they drafted a guy last year. They have Adam Thielen, but they could use help. Adam Thielen's old. He's got 1 year left, basically. Xavier Legette's a rookie. They can use an outside guy for Bryce Young to pair up with, and I think this would be a perfect guy. In a little bit of trouble, what do? Throw it up to the guy who's 6'5", let him make a play. They have Legette. He's a smaller, thick guy, but smaller, bigger after the catch guy. This is your deep ball threat that the Carolina Panthers are desperately looking for.
Yeah. Again, think Tetairoa McMillan is my wide receiver number 1. Going to put that out there. Now, Travis Hunter, we didn't do Travis Hunter, but he'd probably be my wide receiver number 1, Travis Hunter.
It's tough to say with what you want to consider him.
Yeah, so
I don't know if I would consider him the best receiver in this class. He'd be one of the best.
Yeah.
He's definitely probably most likely the best corner. He's one of the best receivers. He's going to be the first guy off the board if you count him as a receiver. It's just whatever team's going to use him as.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on to the next player, which is Josh Beck. I also did Josh Beck, 6'2", 215. My player comp was DeAndre Hopkins. No crazy player comps yet. Okay, nothing.
Well, that's a pretty high player comp.
That is a high player comp. I did like Josh Beck. Has elite level hands and a great catch radius. Can play inside and out. Runs hard and is tough to bring down and is sneaky quick. He was the Senior Bowl MVP. A well-rounded wide receiver with a high floor. Doesn't get jammed at the line of scrimmage, but can't get away from other DBs. Doesn't have elite level speed. Would like to see him work back to the ball a little bit more. Not sure if he could be a wide receiver 1 because of the lack of speed, and footwork is just okay. So I think Josh Beck is a really good player with, like I said, a really high floor. If you take him, I think you're going to get the floor of a wide receiver 3 here. But my problem is with him, he doesn't have elite speed for being 6'2". He's not the quickest. He's sneaky, but he's not really the quickest guy in space. Has really good hands. His drop percentage was 1%. So very good drop percentage. Caught everything. Josh Beck is a player that I think could be he's a good day 2 guy.
Yeah, I think this is a guy who's no one really looked at too much until the Senior Bowl, right, where his stock kind of really rose at that point. Nothing really impressive in college career. TCU, they said nothing very impressive, but he had a very good some good showings at the practices of the Senior Bowl. Then they said Senior Bowl MVP, overall just a much better performance. Everyone was like, whoa, all right, who's this guy? Like, he definitely got on teams' radars. And I think you're right. I think he's a guy he's a day 2 guy. Whoever picks him up, he'll be I don't think this guy will be any great NFL receiver, but he could be a starting receiver on a team, like a number 3 solid guy in a rotation for a team.
Yeah. And he can play inside and out. He doesn't just need to play the outside. He could also play the inside. He's well enough. He can run routes well enough where he could play inside in the slot, and he doesn't just have to be on the outside, even though he is 6'2". So Josh Beck, I think, is a good receiver that's probably almost about perfectly valued in his draft stock. Emeka Egbuka, Ezra did Emeka Egbuka. Ezra wasn't able to join us today. Scheduling conflicts and everything like that. Bunch of different stuff. But Emeka Egbuka, 6'1", 250 player comp was Jackson Smith-Njigba. That is a very high player comp. But I think he deserves it. Route runner, great route runner who varies tempos and has subtle but efficient head fakes and shoulder fakes. Spectacular footwork, allows him to create separation. Versatile, has experience and success as a punt returner and kick returner. Very good rack numbers because of his punt returner and kick returner. Shay, you want to read the weaknesses?
Yeah, so some medical concerns coming from an ankle knee injury in 2023. Only average speed in the drive phase of the route. Struggles against physical coverage underneath. Not going to be an outside receiver due to limited size, experience, and speed. This best way to put it, Emeka Egbuka is good at everything. This is a guy all around good receiver. He's not amazing at anything, but he's good to great at everything. That's the best way to put it. He's from Ohio State, wide receiver U, if you want to call it that, and LSU, basically breed wide receivers that turn out to be studs. This is whoever, again, I'm not sure where Emeka Egbuka is going to get drafted. I'd probably have him as the wide receiver 3. Yeah, I assume he get picked in the first rounds, but
he's 4 for me.
He's 4. Yeah, I think I'd probably put him at 3, but he's a guy, whoever picks him, you're getting a solid receiver no matter what. This guy is going to be good. He's been good in college for years. He's going to be good in the NFL. He might not do anything that jumps off the board. He's not crazy fast. He's not crazy big, but he's just overall good receiver.
I think a really good way PFF put it is there's draft fatigue on him, because we've been talking about Emeka Egbuka for a while.
Years. This guy's been, because I think it was like 2 years ago. I mean, they had Marvin Harrison Jr. They had I don't remember who else it was, and then Emeka Egbuka was like the 3rd receiver, and that guy was. It might have been even when Jackson Smith-Njigba was there too. It was him, Marvin Harrison, and Emeka Egbuka, and he's been there for years.
Yeah, so I think a little fatigued there, but
it's been great. He's put up great numbers every year since.
Yeah,
he's been great every year.
I think the reason why I'll get to it when I get to it, actually, in the rankings and everything like that, the big board, when we talk about that before. So Alex Emmanuel, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong.
Ayo Manor.
6'2", 210. My player comp was Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Great, good speed. Definitely a downfield threat. threat. His quarterback did not help him out too much. His quarterback stunk. Whoever his quarterback was in the first like 2 or 3 games stunk. I mean, this guy was open like multiple of times in the deep, and like the quarterback just couldn't even come close. Good contesting catching when thrown up one-on-one. Good blocker and willing too. This is your typical X wide receiver. Has a drop problem and struggles holding on to the ball when he gets it. When he gets hit, can't make people miss over the middle. Can't really play on the inside. Most of his plays are on the outside. Struggles at release. Would like to see him create more separation. This is a great an average day 2 pick for me. I think when I watched Alec, I left a lot on tape, also because of his quarterback. So I would have liked that number of 831 yards over here should have been closer to 1,000 to 1,200 yards, just because of how like bad his quarterback was early on. I thought it missed him multiple times downfield. I was like, this kid is awful. So Alex has that problem. Alex had that problem in the receiving. So would like to see him get a real quarterback. Great X receiver. Good speed, great contested jump ball. I think this is where his limitation is, though. He's just probably an X receiver, can't really move inside.
Yeah, I don't think he's that good, that exciting of a prospect as much. Like you said, I know. Like you said, I agree with you. Typical X receiver. I don't think he's as athletic as I would have liked him to be. He ran a 4.44. Would have liked to see that maybe in the 4.3s for a guy like him. Like you said, you compare it to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, tall. Does have drop issues, but Marquez ran like a 4.3. Guy is fast. This guy's not as fast. I would have liked him to test a little faster.
Yeah.
And probably 4.4 again. 4.4 is fast, but if you have a bit of a drop issue and you're not super physical, and there's kind of like you're limited, you got to be really, really fast. So 4.4, teams might scare him away. This is probably more of a later day 2 pick.
Yeah.
Round 3 guy.
Yeah, he actually probably was closer to round 3 for me. He was a player I liked, but I didn't like him. If I took him in the first top half of the second round, I would have not liked him at all.
Yeah, but again, he's a receiver, so if one start going off the board, you never know. Guy jumps up, but I'd probably grade him more of a 3rd round type of guy.
Yeah. PFF had him pretty highly graded though. Luther Burden, wide receiver, 5'11", 208, player comp. Garrett Wilson, Shay, take it away.
So I kept it short and sweet with him. His strengths: he's a great athlete, he's a great route runner, he's great after the catch, he's got great hands, and he's a slot guy. He played basically in the slot in college. Another player comparison I could have done, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Some of his weaknesses: he's not the best blocker. He lets the ball come to him, so instead of high pointing the ball, sometimes he is a smaller receiver, so it happens, which is not a big deal for him being a slot guy. Has trouble with the press. Again, he didn't see it too often in college. Again, slot guy, so it's not like super common. And he's a diva.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's if there's one reason teams are passing on him is because he is a bit of a diva, like an extreme diva.
Oh yeah.
He's a guy who let's put it like this. He had a phenomenal year last year. Phenomenal year. This year, the offense kind of wasn't run the way he liked it to be run. Wasn't his style of play. And you could kind of just see that in the field. The quarterback play wasn't very good from, I don't remember his first name, but the guy Cook, I think is their quarterback.
Yes. I think it's Brady.
Yeah,
Brady
I think Brady Cook. Not a super great performance this year. Kind of just almost like not that he completely checked out, but just kind of overall, like, you could tell something wasn't right. But this is a guy who has the talent, like a ridiculous talent. He is a stud. He's my wide receiver too. I think whoever picks him is getting a good receiver. If you could handle his crap, he's going to probably fall later than he should fall. This is a guy who should probably be a top 15 pick. He's going to probably fall to the 20s. Possibly even I've seen some in the second round. This guy he is a very, very good receiver, and whoever picks him is getting a stud receiver. I guarantee it.
Yeah, see, my problem here, if you show one scout the one game you watch, if you watch that Boston College game, you would go, this guy's not a first-round pick for the simple fact of his penalties and his diva-ness. Like, he got a penalty for he shoved the ball in the face of a receiver of a DB. Then he also ripped off another defensive player's mouthpiece and chucked it.
He has issues. He's like, again, which I mean, every receiver's a diva for the most part, but like he has really temperament issues he had.
But when I watched Luther Burden, I said the film speaks for itself. I think PFF actually gave him the perfect player comp, which was Deebo Samuel. He's he's quick after the ball. He's very twitchy in terms of creating a space. This guy's the best player in space. Like when you get the ball to him in space, forget about it. He also punt return and kick return in at Missouri as well. So he's definitely one of those guys that I don't think I'd give him. I actually don't think I'd draft him in the first round just because of his like diva-ness and everything. But the talent is definitely there as a receiver, 100%.
I went Garrett Wilson over Deebo Samuel. I think he's a better route runner than Deebo is. Deebo's a little bigger than him too. I think he's got more twitchiness to Garrett Wilson. Like I said, he played in the slot like this. I'm telling you, this is a guy whoever drafts him, whichever team takes a shot on him. I know nobody that doesn't like the hothead and all this stuff. If you can keep this guy cool and give him the ball and find ways to get him the ball, a team that needs a slot receiver he is going to thrive. He's going to be a phenomenal receiver in the NFL.
No, it would be great if he went to Pittsburgh.
That would be
Think about that receiver: Luther Burden, DK Metcalf, and George Pickens.
That'd be some trio. No, I really a team who needs.
And that's a team that they actually need him. If he fell all the way to the second round and he fell that far, which he's not going to fall that far, but like if he ever did fall that far,
they could pick him at 21 or whatever.
They could.
I'm trying to think of like an NFL team that like relies heavily on a slot guy any team that relies heavily on a guy that plays in the slot. I mean,
probably the Broncos. The Broncos are a team that need a slot receiver.
Yeah,
they got Cortland Sutton on the outside.
This is a guy this is like putting like Puka Nacua in the slot. Like if the Rams need a slot guy, like if they didn't have Puka or whatever and needed Devontae on the outside and they needed their slot guy, you throw this guy in there, he's going to put up 1,500 yards. Like he's that good. You just got to get him.
I actually liked Luther Burden's film when I watched it.
I'm telling you. And last year when he had things going for him the right way and the better system, and he was way better. And he put up great numbers last year, way better than his numbers were this year.
All right, let's move on here to Jaden Higgins, one of my favorite players in this class, 6'4", 215. Player comp was Nico Collins. It's a high player comp. But once I saw it, I go, yeah, that's Nico Collins for sure. Amazing size for a wide receiver, can run the whole route tree, does a great job creating double moves with his head fakes. Good route runner, especially for his size, can make people miss an open space, elite hands. The weakness is on him, he's not the best athlete. Doesn't have great speed for the next level. Would like to see him be a little bit better of a blocker. Jaden Higgins is a complete prospect. There is nothing to, I think, be concerned about except for his athleticism. He ran a 4.48, I'm pretty sure, which isn't the best, but that's not elite level.
It's a 4.4.
It's still a 4.4, but it's
his size.
I know, right? That's why I think Jaden Higgins, he's one of my favorite players in this draft, and I think we'll get to him more when we talk about him on the big board. But I didn't see anything that was like, oh, I don't like this guy. He actually ran a lot more plays. He had a lot of catches because he didn't run a lot of plays downfield. He ran a lot of actually short routes, which was for a 6'4", 215 receiver, you're like, what? Yeah, he worked a lot more over the middle than down the sidelines when you watched him, but he could definitely work down the sidelines with that 6'4", 215 frame.
This is a guy, the only reason I really know more about Jaden Higgins is it was a name that when it came up for the Packers, it was a guy they really liked, and it was most likely I was like, okay, this guy, they're going to take second rounds, this guy Jaden Higgins is going to be their pick. And then from that moment, his draft stock has just went up and up and up and up. And now there's people saying that the Packers might take him at 23 in the first rounds. Now, they don't take first-round receivers, so probably won't. But his draft stock has just gone up and up and up. And he's probably, I think he's my wide receiver 4. I'd throw him behind the other 3 guys. But, again, I'd say this is probably a first-round receiver. I think he's very, very good.
I do
Great
too.
Size, great hands, more athleticism than you would think. Like, to run a 4.4 at this size, very, very impressive. I think this is a guy whose draft stock has just gone up, and it keeps going up, and more teams are really, really liking him. And I could see him. He's a guy who I could see getting drafted earlier than everyone expects on the opening rounds.
Let's move on here to his run mate, Jalen Noel, 5'11", 200 pounds. Sterling Shepard. This is not current day Sterling Shepard. This is probably a back in the day Sterling Shepard when he played for the Giants. Explosive player that runs hard, has the ability to go up go up and jump for the ball. Great release with his quick footwork. Has elite level speed for the next level. Good deep route runner. Really only a slot receiver at the next level. Not the best run blocker for his size. Struggles to run short routes. Jumps to catch the ball. When I mean that, I mean like he's open and he jumps in the air to catch the ball. That pissed me off. I've watched it like 6 or 7 times on film. I was like, stop jumping while you're just running and there's nobody near you and you just jump for the ball.
Some guys have a habit of doing that.
Yes, and he is one of them that has the habit of doing it. Thinks will be good, but limited at the next level because I think he's really only a slot receiver. Not the twitchiness like Luther Burden has, probably not anywhere close, but definitely explosive. Like when he has the ball in his hands, he can move. The acceleration is very good there. Speed is pretty good as well. Good footwork. I'm not sure how good he'll be in the next level because I think he's a slot, really a slot only guy. He's better than Tez Johnson, 100%. But Jaylen Nowell is going to be limited at the next level, though.
Now, this is probably the guy the Packers will end up drafting in the second round instead of Higgins because Higgins will go. And he'll probably end up sucking. So that's about they both liked Iowa State guys. They were looking, I think Higgins was the better one that they were looking at. He wasn't projected to go that high. I think Higgins was more of a second round guy, and then Nowell was more of a third round guy, I think. I think both of their stock has kind of gone up really since the drafts. Higgins is more of a first-round guy. I think Nowell probably jumps into the second round now as a second-round talent.
If Nowell and Ellick are sitting there at the same spot, I'd probably take Ellick. Ellick has the higher ceiling. I don't know where the Packers draft in terms of the back half of the first.
When this came out, they like both of these guys. They like Nowell and they like Higgins. Like they were like really liking the Iowa State kids.
Yeah, because you guys need another burner. I'd take Ellick over him. Because Jaylen Nowell doesn't give you
the Packers don't need a receiver. Like none of these guys are going to put unless like Luther Burden fell to them. Like none of these guys are going to make their like. You have Romeo Doubs. You have Jaden Reed in the slot. You have Doubs as your X. Christian Watson's he's hurt. You still have Wicks. Watson comes back. There's none of these guys are going to make you that much better. What you need is somebody who could get after the quarterback. So they're going to end up what they should draft is someone on the D line. But they'll probably end up taking a second round receiver, one of these guys. And it will probably be one of these guys.
Interesting. Let's move on here to Tyler Warren, Shay.
All right, Tyler Warren. He's 6'6", 261. The player comparison. I swear I put it in. I was looking trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out one for him because a lot of the good ones are retired players. One I really liked was Dallas Clark. He's a retired player. I saw things like Pat Freiermuth. Didn't like that one. What was the other one I saw I didn't like? I almost wanted to do George Kittle because, again, this is just a guy that, like, he's great. He can catch balls. He can block people. So we'll just go George Kittle. We'll go George. Oh, you know what? We'll go Brock Bowers. We'll give him Brock Bowers. Why not?
I think he's a better prospect than Brock Bowers.
He's arguably, yeah. You want to go George Kittle? You go George Kittle. This guy is, I'll get to the strengths. Can play anywhere on the field. He does everything. He can play. Put him at fullback. Let him maul somebody. Put him like winged off, he'll maul somebody. Put him out wide, sure, go ahead. He'll do something. Very strong. He's also got strong hands with long arms, gives him a huge catch radius. He catches everything. And he's able to hold his own against edge rushers, which is huge. NFL teams love that. For some reason, they think that tight ends can block pass rushers, and 99% of them can't. This is a guy who can. His weaknesses, he's not the quickest. He ran a 4.6. When he gets up to speed, he can move. He's not the quickest. He doesn't got, again, he's not shifty, really. He's a tight end.
Doesn't have high acceleration.
Yeah, exactly. Slow cuts. He gets redirected on his routes sometimes. When he gets hands on him, he'll get sloppy sometimes. It's a big thing. If you watch him, when the ball doesn't come to him, he gets kind of lazy too. I'm not getting the ball. I don't really care as much. He could also still improve as a run blocker. He's good. I would like to see him stay on his blocks a little bit longer. He gets engaged, and then sometimes he let goes a little too early. I would like to see him finish his blocks more. But, I mean, this guy had one of the best years we've seen out of a tight end in college football for Penn State, and he's an unbelievable not sure where he goes. I could see him getting drafted anywhere from, 4th 5 to 25. That's the best way to put it. He should go high. He's a tight end, so he might not go as high, but whoever gets him is getting a stud.
Yeah, I think Tyler Warren's one of the best players in this draft. I have him very high on my board. I don't think there's any limitations on anything you could put Tyler Warren on. I think, when we talk about him, I think we could talk about him as a top 5 tight end, this year. So run blocking still to improve. Same thing I would have talked about with Brock Bowers when it comes into his ability in the run game. Brock Bowers probably has to get a little bit better than that. You're a fucker. Is it working, Max? Okay, thank you. Yeah, just say could still improve as a run blocker. So I think that's the only thing. I think you're right as that. Let's move on here to Matthew Golden. He's another receiver I like too. 6 foot, 195. Player comparison with Stephon Diggs. Strengths, can play inside, outside. Works back to the ball. Great hands for his size. Does an incredible job winning at contested catches. Does an incredible job at releasing off the line and creating separation. Has elite speed, but sometimes it doesn't show on film. Weaknesses, little undersized for a wide receiver. Has traits to make people miss after the catch. Doesn't do it enough. Not a good blocker because of his size. Stephon Diggs was my comparison. I think he's a great route runner, 6 foot, 195. You can play him in the inside or outside, wherever you need him. Matthew Golden is an all-around perfect receiver. I don't know how much better he's going to get as a receiver, and I think what you're going to get is what you're going to get, and he'll maybe get a little bit better as time goes on, but Matthew Golden's going to be a good wide receiver for a while.
Yeah, I think some people are giving him a little too much credit. I know a lot of people say he's like this is a first round guy. This is like the second best receiver in the draft. I would probably have him as my receiver 5, maybe.
Wow.
I think.
That's wow. Okay.
Where would you have him?
We will definitely disagree. I don't remember where I had him, but I had him pretty high.
Really? See, I would take McMillan over him. I would take Luther Burden over him. I would take Ibuka over him, and then I would even probably take Jaden Higgins over him. But that again, I could debate there, maybe 4 or 5. A lot of people really like him. The Texas receiving core this year, and then I don't know if Isaiah Bond is on here.
Isaiah Bond isn't on here.
He's not.
Yeah, he ran his mouth too much.
It kind of reminds me of the Texas receiving core from last year, except Bond wasn't as fast. They had Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy had great speed. That was really it. He was super fast. Adonai Mitchell was the everything else guy. Smaller guy, but great hands, great route running. Kind of reminds me of Matthew Golden. Smaller guy, decent size, a little bigger than Mitchell was, but great hands, great route running. And then Bond is more of your speed guy. But Bond didn't run as fast as he said he was going to run. So
yeah, Matthew Golden ran faster. Matthew Golden ran a 4.3.
Yeah. Now here's the difference. Here's the one thing that I say that I know we don't have Isaiah Bond on here. Isaiah Bond is fast.
Yeah,
he's very fast.
He is fast.
He just needs a lot of steps to get up to full speed.
Yeah.
If you throw him a go ball, give him a second to get to full speed. If a D-back could be 3 yards ahead of him, he will get past the D-back. You just got to give him time. He's not quick, but he can get up to full speed. That's the one thing with Bonds. Golden, more quick, better route, more runner. I think, like I said, I don't think he's as good as people say he's going to be. Like I said, some people have him as the wide receiver 1 or 2, I think. I still think he's probably a late first-round guy, if I had to guess. He'd probably be one of the later first-round guys gone. Because I think there'll probably be about 5 receivers that go in the first round, and he'll be one of the later guys.
Yeah, I don't think there's 5 that go in the first round.
It's receivers.
I think he's one that goes in the first round, but I don't think there's 5 of them that go in the first round.
I can see 5 going. Teams just realize, edge rushers, receivers, you always need a bunch of them. Might as well take them.
He will be drafted, I am pretty sure, before Luther Burden. Because of Luther Burden's all his problems and stuff like that.
Luther Burden is a better player than this guy. Luther Burden is a stud. Someone just has to just draft him. You could figure out the rest. Just draft the guy and put him in a good system.
Colston Loveland here. 6'5", 245. Ezra did him. Player comp Tucker Kraft. Explosive athlete with great acceleration and fluid movement. Can run through the entire route tree all over 3 levels. Dangerous seam threat with great speed. Chess piece, has experience and production for any alignment. Blocking technique is a work in progress. Has tendencies to round off his routes and not make sharp cuts. Needs to edge strength or he'll get ragdolled. possibly run into problems with drops. Sometimes will run before securing the catch. Colston Loveland, 6'5", 245. Shay, I actually didn't do Colston Loveland, so do you have anything on Colston Loveland?
Here's the thing. Tyler Warren, definitely better. That's one thing that I can tell you. Tyler Warren's definitely better. Colston Loveland was the guy, that kind of people knew from last year a bit too, with the national championship
Yeah.
run that Michigan went on. And I think going into this year, everyone thought he would probably be the tight end one coming into the draft. However, Tyler Warren just had a phenomenal year and jumped up. This guy, again, I think this year, his production this year wasn't as good as it was last year for Michigan. He took a bit of a step back. Still overall very good tight end. Solid in the pass game, solid blocker. Overall, just a good player. Now, again, I don't know if this guy will get drafted super high because he's a tight end. And tight ends just tend not to get drafted super high because it's not as necessary of a position as teams feel. So this guy, if Warren goes in that top 15, I could see this guy going in like the 20s, maybe even pushed off to the second round. It could happen. It's just how tight end goes. I think Denver is a lot of people possibly think Denver could pick this guy up.
Denver's not picking him.
They signed, that was before they signed Ingram. That's right. They signed Evan Ingram, but
Chargers probably.
Chargers could use Chargers could use a tight end.
Jim Harbaugh.
This is one of those playoff teams from last year that could use a tight end. If not, he might get pushed off to the second round. It just happens.
All right, we move on here to Trey Harris. I think he's the last one. 6'3", 210 player comp was Michael Pittman. Strengths, has great breakaway speed, and is a good after the catch. A deep threat that can win vertical. Ran lots of wide receiver screens in college. Good route runner. Would like to see him get a little bit better, though. Didn't play many games this year because of injury. His contested catch skills leaves a bit to be desired. Not the best hands. Would like to see him create more separation at the line of scrimmage. Trey Harris, I think, was an okay player. I would have liked to see a little bit more out of him as a player. Jackson Dart was a little interesting to watch as well. The ball flew off the hands, I can tell you that. Trey Harris, interesting player. I think he was probably last on the list of receivers.
Last?
Yeah, he was last, yeah.
Really?
PFF had him as the last of all of them. Maybe Jalen Noel was behind him, but
really? This is my biggest question mark of the draft. Right? This is a guy who, like, I've seen mock drafts of teams taking this guy that this guy could go really high.
Really?
Yeah, this guy, again, look at his numbers he put up this year. In 8 games, he put up great numbers in 8 games.
He did.
Very good numbers. He had I want to know what he tested at the 40. I think he ran a 4.3.
I don't know what he ran. There's a couple people that like Trey Harris.
Yeah, like this is a guy, he is the biggest. Oh, no, so he ran a 4.5, and that's probably what's turned him down. I think coming into the combine, he was a lot higher.
Yeah.
And I think maybe running a 4.5 put him a lot lower down the list. But this is a guy, I want to think he has the intangibles and everything to be pretty good. He put up good production in college, but I also don't know if he has he's tall, not the most athletic, has some issues still, not a complete player. This is a guy who, if I wouldn't be surprised if he fell, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he got drafted a bit earlier. Some teams really like him. Other teams I don't think are very interested. It's kind of tough, where this is probably my biggest question mark of where this guy's going to go.
Yeah, Trey Harrison was definitely an interesting player. If you ever watched him on his wide receiver screens, it's probably the funniest thing. He literally just stands there and is still in his stance. The ball's already snapped and everything. And then Jackson Dart, when the ball starts to come to him, then he just kind of, the ball's here. And he just stands there for 2 seconds. You're like, dude, did you know the ball was snapped? Didn't even move or anything. Then he looks and turns around they did it 6 or 7 times on film. And I was like, I can't keep watching this, but it was funny to watch. I think that's it for today. Yeah, let's go to the big board, Shay.
Oh, the big board.
The big board. All right. The only player that was not on here was Colston Loveland. I didn't get around to him. He was the only player I didn't get around to.
Okay, he would probably go in tier 3. That would probably be my guess.
So tier 1 is Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Mason Graham.
That should be tier 1. That's personally, though, that would be my whole tier 1. I know you have one more guy you think you would throw in there.
Maybe, possibly. I haven't watched
that. Would be my tier 1. Nobody else would be in tier 1 for me besides those 3 guys. That would be my tier 1.
Tyler Warren jumped up all the way number 4 on the board.
Yes, I agree. I think he is the best. Besides those 3 guys, I would put Tyler Warren as probably the next best player in the draft.
You missed. Which one were you throwing me? Yeah, I want a watermelon, so throw it good. Look at that. Elite hands.
If you have a cherry or blue raspberry.
And then Tetra McMillan was number 6. Max is chucking us Scholar Ranchers over there. He's a big scholar, so he can't come over here anymore. So Tetra McMillan was at number 6 for me.
I agree with your early first round guys. This is good. I would say both of these guys are early first round guys, and I like the spot for McMillan at 6. Yeah, I agree. I think he's very good, and Warren is probably Warren would be my top guy out of the outside 3.
Okay, here was tier 3.
Okay, that's a little all right.
Here was tier 3. Matthew Golden at 12 and Jaden Higgins at number 13. Very similar.
Both of those guys too high to me, but
very similar.
I would put both guys too high.
Luther Burden was 18, and he was pretty dang close to up there.
I like the spots of these two guys. I like Burden at 18. That's fine. I'd maybe move him up a little bit. And Ibuka at 21. I think that's a good spot for him, too.
Like, Jaden Higgins jumped up. I watched Jaden. I know that's the big one that you guys probably going to hate because Jaden Higgins, I put him at 13.
Listen, teams are like, he went from being like a late second round pick to just jumping up. He's like first round guy now. Like he's first round, like gonna get drafted. He's jumped up a lot.
So I watched him. I watched Matthew Golden. I thought both of those guys.
I think just had a really good combine, and that kind of pushed him up the board. I don't think he's as good. I think he's kind of like Adonai Mitchell from last year, and I thought Adonai Mitchell would be solid. Didn't really show too much last year, as much as we would have liked.
His quarterbacks also stunk.
Yeah, but again, it's different. But it's still a good player. I don't know if Golden's this high though. These are the guys like Burden, Ibuka. I think could be like possible number 1 receivers. Very, very good guys. I don't know if Golden could do that.
Yeah, so these are my tier 3. If I had to separate them, I'd probably put these two, the Matthew Golden and Jaden Higgins. Actually, Ibuka would probably be in a separate tier in his own because Luther Burden's closer to Jaden Higgins and he's closer to Emeka Egbuka.
I would go Burden higher. Ibuka's okay. I would probably drop Jaden Higgins to the lower part of this list, and then Golden I would slide maybe the Golden the very bottom of this list.
Yeah. All right. Early second round guys. I have to go to a second page, but there was Josh Beck there.
Okay.
Alec Amore here.
Okay.
Jalen Noel.
That's a good spot for Noel. I don't know about
and Trey Harris was pretty low for me as well.
Okay. Yeah, Trey Harris.
He's 44. But he was ranked like 80th on PFF.
He's the biggest question mark for me. I don't know Trey Harris. I think Alec might be a little too high. Beck is that's probably a good spot for him about the second round. I don't know too much about Alec as much. And you said he played at Stanford. His quarterback wasn't very good.
His quarterback was awful.
Yeah,
they switched quarterbacks within like 2 games. I see a new one back. Oh, yeah, there's a new guy back there.
I don't know too much about him. I don't know if I'd put him that high, but I'd probably put him in the late second round tier, behind Noel. But again, I don't think this isn't too bad. We had to move. We might have to split this tier up here because this tier is getting very hairy. I did move Nick Amore down because he wasn't these prospects level of guys, but he still got. I agree. He's still high. He's still too high. But he's still too high. He should definitely fall. For you guys. But did you move anyone else around? Do you think, or just really like? No, there was a couple guys that I want to go back and watch. Like Connerly's, you moved him up. I feel like he was not that high. No, Connolly actually was that high. Josh Connolly was pretty high. I know he's probably not going to go anywhere near 16 as the best player. But he might. He's probably the 4th best tackle, and tackles just go. They get drafted. Well, Josh Simmons, I had him better than too. I like Simmons too, but Simmons didn't play a lot. He got banged up. What you call it? There are what you call it? There are players I want to go back and watch. I want to go back and watch Donovan Ezerique. I had him at like 37. I think I want to move him up. He's one I got to rewatch. Most of the offensive guys I don't have to rewatch. Most of the corners, there was probably some more edge rushers that I wanted to rewatch. Him, Malachi Williams, I want to rewatch again. I want to get a better evaluation on him. And then there's still guys down here. I still have to. Well, we can cross off Emeka Egbuka. I did him, and then Colson Loveland. I didn't put Loveland in that later first round tier. Probably. Yeah, he's probably somewhere around. He's in that mix. Yeah, he's in that mix. That's a big mix, though. It is. Yeah, I would maybe move it to like you got like the early first, then maybe like mid. You could have like. Maybe do like the top 10 prospects in the top 10, and then you could put like maybe the middle is like 10 to 20, and then we don't have too many players left. We got quarterbacks and running backs, and I could tell you, not too many quarterbacks and a few Cam Ward gonna be up here somewhere. All the rest are gonna fall into tier 3 and 4. Yeah, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, and Tyler Shuck. Yeah, Tyler Shuck. Those will be the 4. 4 will do. 4 will do. Probably do Will Howard. He's actually supposed to go pretty high. Well, here's the thing. Will Howard, he had a bad combine. He had an awful combine. Good pro day, though. Much better pro day. Kyle McCord is another one to keep an eye on. Teams like Kyle McCord.
And then Jalen Milroe, the other one.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Jalen Milroe. And then running backs. There's a lot of running backs.
Yeah, let's go look at the running backs right now.
Not many will go high. Ashton Genty will go.
A lot of people are saying that this is one of the best running back classes.
Yes, depth-wise, yes. But again, not a lot of them will go high because it's not running backs. But Genty will go pretty high. Amari and Hampton will probably go higher than people expect.
He might go in the first round.
Yeah, I
he probably will.
He's more of a pass-catching guy, I think, Amari Hampton. Like,
Cam Skattebo
ran a 4.5 for his size, pretty good. Both Ohio State running backs going to go high.
Quinton Judson,
second round, third round guys. Yeah, there's
Winston Judson.
I don't know much about Dylan Sampson. Caleb Johnson, very very good, big running back.
Trayvon Henderson is that high? That's
I see it. Yeah, the second, third.
J.R. Harvey.
These guys I don't really know too much about.
I don't know much
about
about
him.
him.
A little bit about. He's all right.
I've heard this name before, Jaden Blue. I think because he ran I think he was fast. I think that's why. He probably, I think, was very fast at the combine.
Smaller running back.
There's a good.
Yeah, again, you won't get many running backs that go in the first round because they're running backs. But by round 2 and 3, like the Browns, the Browns are going to take a running back either early second round or early third round. Probably early third round they'll take a back. They need a running back. Who else needs a running back? A bunch of teams need a running back. Going to draft one because, like you said, this might be one of the best running back classes. Just by how many guys, like. The 7th best running back in this draft can be a pretty good guy.
Oh, I remember how high Dylan Gabriel was a couple.
And you look at Quinn Ewers at 142.
Yeah.
He's my biggest question mark at quarterback.
I think this is the biggest question mark because he's 25 years old.
Because he's old. Yeah.
He's 25 years old and coming off a knee surgery. That's why he's like if he was 21 years old, he'd probably be the number 1 overall pick. Mm-hmm. But he's 25 and he's coming off a knee surgery, turning probably 26.
You have, like him and then Quinn Ewers, who has the arm talent, just does this is stupid sometimes. Makes some stupid throws. Like he's more of a prospect. Quinn Ewers. He's a guy like if you draft him and you can coach him up, he could be very.
I've heard so much about these quarterbacks, and when we get into him, that will be it. Like Will Howard, great processor. So
like I said. Everyone liked him, and I think if he had a better combine, it really would have helped him. But then he had an awful combine, and that kind of would lowered him.
Yeah.
And then his pro day boosted him up a little bit.
So that's it for today. I think we did a good job. Shay didn't get too mad at my big board this time, which was good.
There is a couple off, but again, it's receivers. It's a little different.
I think this though, like my receiver list. Was like the best. This is the best evaluation. I think this was the easiest and best evaluation to do.
Guys who I said all these guys would go in the first round, and you had them going in the first round.
Yeah, all of them.
5 guys I said that probably go in the first round. You have them as first round guys. So
I would take them all as the first round guys. Yeah, I don't know if NFL teams see it that way, but that's how I see it.
I think they'll all go in the first round. I think they all will. Now there's certain guys like for example, I really like James Pierce Jr. However, he has issues. I really like Luther Burden. However, he has issues. Great, both of them. I'm telling you, they are great talents. They just have a little bit of issues, anger issues.
Yeah, Burden's a better player, I think, than James Pierce. Though I think Burden's a very good player.
Burden might be the most underrated player in this draft. He went from being like a top 10 pick to falling possibly out of the first round because he's a hothead. Like the talent is there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, all right, that's it for today. Thank you guys for joining. We should have an interview coming up very soon, probably the end of next week, probably the weekend sometime. That will be coming out with John Bach. So, yeah, that's it. Max, why are you laughing over there?
Don't worry about him.
Don't worry about him. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.